Morning, everyone, or good afternoon now. I'm Laura, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the Communications Officer for Climate Forth. And Mirran Trimble, my colleague today, she's going to be doing most of the presentation on how we've been encouraging through the Climate Forth project climate responsible tourism. And Mirran's been doing a lot of work over the past year or so on that. She's a bit of an expert, so hopefully you will find some of this useful, interesting, and there's opportunities to ask questions as well. So these little Ask Me Anything sessions, we just thought we would do a little drop-in session to share the learnings about Climate Forth, which is a pilot project. And we have two more left, so I'll share the details of the other sessions with you at the end of this one as well. So a couple of housekeeping points. As I said, it's been recorded, so feel free to put your camera off if you'd rather not end up being a YouTube sensation on our YouTube channel. Feel free to jump in and unmute yourself at any point, and also you can drop questions in the Q&A and in the chat as well. Yeah. So I know a few of you have been to previous webinars, but just to run over a little bit of detail about Climate Forth Project, in case you don't really know who we are. Well, the fourth in Climate Forth, it stands for Furthering Our Resilience Through Heritage, and it's run by the Inner Forth Futures Partnership. And this partnership, we're made up of 9 organisations. So RSPB is they're our lead partner. And then we work with Nature Scot, Stirling, Falkirk, Clackmannanshire and Fife Councils, Green Action Trust and the Walk Wheel Cycle Trust and Historic Environment Scotland too. Project is 3.5 years long. We're into the final 6 months of the project now. So yeah, delivery phase ends at the end of this year. And it is mainly funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund and a range of other co-funders. You can see on the map there the area in which we operate. So we call ourselves the Inner Forth region, so we cover parts of Stirling, West Fife, Clackmannanshire and Falkirk in central Scotland. So yeah, the core area is the red border there, and the dotted blue is the wider engagement area for some of our activities. So we have several objectives at Climate Forth at the project, and these include that the Inner Forth heritage is valued and has inspired action to meet Scotland's net zero climate targets. We also hope that the Inner Forth's natural and built heritage assets will have an increased resilience to societal and climatic change. And we also hope that our project will help people and places within the Inner Forth to have an increased resilience to change. Mirran is going to, probably take you through some more in detail, of course, but we our kind of key themes that we focus on are increasing climate resilience within communities, heritage and businesses. And we've been working on about 15 activities, so quite a lot of activities in total on the project. And these aims they're not just to undertake the activity, these are piloting activities. So we're testing what works and what doesn't work so well. And then we are informing others locally within Scotland and the UK, or even further afield, with the view to helping with delivery of these activities on a bigger scale. So we're kind of like creating blueprints that hopefully other people can learn from. Sharing learning is a massive part of what we do at Climate Forth, and as we progress into the activities, there is the aim to evaluate what has occurred and ensure that this information is shared in a variety of ways to other organisations, like I said, and other projects, local authorities who may find this useful. So Mirran is going to take you through what she's been working on, and like I said, pop any questions, chat in the Q&A section, and we'll come back to them later on. Mirran?
Perfect. Thank you, Laura. Hi everyone. So I know one or two of you, not everyone. So my name is Mirran. I'll take you on to the next slide. So I'm the Visitor and Business Engagement Officer. I've been with Climate Forth for just over a year, started in July last summer. And today, as Laura mentioned, I'm going to take you through some of the activities that I've been delivering to try and promote more sustainable tourism. We'll have a look at what we've done, what's worked well, and some of the challenges that we've come across, and hopefully give you some tips if you're ever looking to do similar activities to this as well. So just first of all, I suppose just to give you a little bit of a kind of understanding of what I mean when I'm talking about sustainable tourism. So it's all about creating positive visitor experiences while trying to reduce our impact on the local environment and heritage, also supporting local communities and trying to provide benefits for the local economy as well. So trying to minimise the damage that tourism is causing while still creating a really nice experience in the Inner Forth area. We've piloted quite a few different activities to try and encourage people to explore the area in a more sustainable way. So yeah, we'll have a look at a couple of these just now and see how we get on. So the first activity that I'm going to talk about is the Round the Inner Forth cycle route. So back in 2024, Climate Forth, alongside the Walk Wheel Cycle Trust, who were previously Sustrans, we rebranded the National Cycle Network route, Section 76. So it was rebranded as the Round the Inner Forth cycle route. So you can see it on the map here, outlined in purple. It goes along the shores of the Inner Forth and it links transport hubs with some of our lesser known heritage attractions. The aim of the rebranding was to try and promote the cycle route, encourage more people to use it, both visitors and locals, to try and explore the area by active travel, and obviously reduce the need for cars in the area. We also were hoping to try and encourage more people to visit some of the lesser known heritage sites that are kind of connected along the route. We can try to reduce some of the pressure at like some of our hotspot tourism sites, some of the really popular sites, reduce pressure there and encourage people to explore a little bit wider and further out. So you can see the kind of branding just at the top there next to the heading on the page. We had this really colourful, recognisable signage which goes along the route to try and help people navigate and explore the route. We did work with local tourism and cycle industry representatives to create the new kind of brand identity. So there was a series of co-design workshops that we ran to make sure we were getting kind of the right input from the right people to do this. So what we're going to try and do, hopefully this will work, we've got a really nice little video that we created to try and promote the cycle route and highlight some of the places that you can visit along it. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and hopefully you'll be able to see this video. Are you seeing YouTube? Yes, good.
There isn't any sound, Mirran, so I don't know if you need to share it with sound.
My apologies. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'll try that again. Is that showing up? Okay. Stop sharing my screen. I'll get the presentation back up. Thank you, Laura.
It's taken a wee while, but hopefully it will. It says still working on it.
It's loading. There we go. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's been a little bit slow. Skip through these. Okay, so that's the video. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of the route, and it was a really nice way to try and promote it as well, and kind of show people what they could actually do and how they can explore. And having videos is always a really nice way to kind of promote these things. So something else that we did as well, we created 6 day trip route cards, like these cycle route cards. So you've got one on the screen here that you can see. So it's double-sided, so you've got the map and a little bit of information on one side, and then you've got a little bit more info on the back as well. So these, we worked with someone called Mike Dennison, who is an experienced cycle consultant, to audit the route and create these route cards. And they're quite varied, so we've created kind of different lengths and different sort of challenge levels to try and offer something for everyone. So there's something for really keen, confident cyclists, as well as people who are maybe a little bit newer to cycling and just want something a bit shorter. So we've tried to kind of create a bit of a day trip for people that's not just a route. So you'll see on here we've got some heritage attractions and kind of viewpoints that people can stop off at along the route as well. We've got friendly stops, so these are local businesses that are welcoming to cyclists. So quite a few of these are like cafes and things. There's some bike repair shops, things like that, to try and encourage people to really spend a little bit more time in those areas, rather than just sort of doing a cycle route where you go through to actually stop, visit local businesses, and spend money at local businesses as well, and try and encourage more of that kind of slower tourism, where you're spending more time in an area. We do have another 2 route cards that are going to be added very soon as well, that are being finalised at the moment, so they'll be on our website. All the route cards can be downloaded off our website for free. We do also have a few stocked at various venues, and we take them to events and things, and they're usually pretty popular. So a few different ways that they can be accessed. So I'll chat a little bit about the kind of lessons that we've learned from the rebranding of the cycle route and the route cards. Some of the things that worked well, some of the challenges that we found. So starting with the positives, I think the branding came out really, really nicely. So you can kind of see the design there. It's brightly coloured, it's very eye-catching, and it's kind of positioned at points along the route. So it's a really easy way for people to be able to kind of follow that route and work out where they're going. The route cards have been really popular as well. So lots of venues have been stocking them. They tend to do quite well at our events. They're just a very kind of quick, handy little thing that you can just grab and go. Depending on how you want them, you can use kind of physical ones, or you can download them onto your phone. So hopefully this kind of suits different people. And they generally, I think, are just really, really helpful for making planning easier. So if you want to go out and you want to do a ride or do a day trip, it just makes it so much quicker. You can just kind of grab one and go. It tells you, you know, what facilities are along the way, where you can stop, things like that. I think especially as a tourist coming to the area, if you don't know the area very well, it probably gives you a bit more confidence in being able to go out, and you know there's going to be somewhere you can stop to eat. There's going to be somewhere you can nip into if there's a problem with your bike, and things like that. So I think it definitely just makes things a lot easier for people. And obviously we can then promote our lesser known heritage through it as well, which is really nice. I think the video footage as well, as you've seen, is a great way to promote these things. So that's been really nice to have that. Really nice way to encourage people to kind of get involved, as well as for partners and stakeholders and people who might want to try and share this for us and help promote it. Having the video is really handy. In terms of the challenges, I think the big one really with this is you have to have a bike. So if you don't own a bike, or you can't hire one very easily, it's a problem. Not everyone can ride a bike or might not have confidence riding a bike, so it's not going to be totally accessible to everyone. There's also not that many options for hiring bikes in the area, although I have noticed recently a couple more spots popping up, so I think this is getting better. but not everywhere along the route has places nearby where you can hire a bike. So particularly when we're trying to encourage tourists, unless you're here on a cycle holiday, you're probably not going to be bringing your bike with you. So I think having more options where people can borrow bikes would be really beneficial. The entire loop also isn't fully accessible, so although a lot of it is, it can't be promoted as a fully accessible wheeling or adapted cycling route as well. And I think the other issue we have is I've kind of talked about the route cards. They're quite good in that there's kind of different formats they come in. But one thing we don't have is kind of like an interactive map. And I think a lot of people these days, if they're going cycling, they like to have an interactive map where they can see where they are and kind of follow along the route. I think if we were to do something like this again, that would be a nice addition to have. A little bit more challenging to set up than these ones, but it allows more people to use it. We do have the PDF versions, which you can still have on your phone. So if people want to have it on their device, they can. But it's obviously a static map, so a little bit more limited potentially. So moving on to our second activity, I'm going to talk about our Round the Forth passport. So this is a newer activity. It only launched at the beginning of June this summer, and it's really designed to encourage people to explore local heritage, particularly our lesser known heritage, to try and reduce some of that pressure on honeypot tourism sites that I kind of mentioned earlier. So we've got this A5 booklet. It was created by a local graphic designer, David Galletley, who's based over in Stirling, and he's done an amazing job. You can see on the left, that's the kind of cover of the booklet. And the idea of this is we've got 9 heritage sites which are featured in the booklet. So we're asking people to go and visit each of the sites. They'll find a physical brass rubbing station, and there's a little space in their booklet for each site to do their brass rubbing. So you've got to go visit all the sites, try and get all the stamps. And we are encouraging people to do it without a car as well. So we have each of the sites comes with a little car-free adventure in the booklet. So we've got options for public transport and active travel routes to get to those locations. And we've got a bit of a kind of itinerary for what else you can do when you're in the area. So again, to really try and promote that slow tourism. You know, if you're going to this space to see this heritage site, go and explore the local businesses as well, and maybe other attractions and other things that you can do whilst you're there. So the car-free adventures are really good for kind of trying to promote that and stop people driving quite so much, hopefully. You can see on the side as well, we've got the 9 heritage sites in the middle. We did try and go for some lesser known sites as much as possible, so you'll probably recognise a few of them. There might be a few kind of slightly more hidden ones there. And on the right, you can see one of our brass rubbings. So this is Wood Hill in Alva, and each one has a kind of unique stamp design as well for the site. So yeah, that's our passport. So I'm going to attempt to show you another video. So we worked with a kind of local influencer, well, a UK influencer, Tineke, who has used the bike bus, which is another activity of ours, and the passport to try and help promote them. So to give you a bit of background on her, she is a presenter, she's an adventurer, she's presented a few shows on BBC and Channel 5. A lot of people know her from Survivor UK. She was on that, I think, quite a few years back. And she's very much trying to promote getting outdoors, getting everybody outside. It should be accessible for everyone. And she's got about 20,000 followers on Instagram. So we worked with her to try and promote some of our activities and just try and reach a few more people, which was fantastic. So she promoted one of our other activities as well, which is the Inner Forth bike bus. I'm not going to go into that too much today, as we have done a separate Ask Me Anything session about it. But if anyone is interested in learning a bit more about that, we can definitely share the link to that one as well. But essentially, it's a free minibus service for walkers and cyclists. So she used the bike bus to travel to one of our passport sites, where she was then able to go and do brass rubbing. So I will share my screen again, and I'll show you, hopefully, the video that she created for us. Okay, is that showing up?
Everything. Catch the first train to Scotland. Take my bike, obviously, and see where this thing can take me. Seriously, this might be one of the coolest ideas that I've ever come across. It's called a bike bus and it is completely free. I'm with the bike bus people. Come on. It's a bus service that helps cyclists explore more of the Inner Forth in Scotland without needing a car. We even had tours and I got a passport to fill up all the places I visit. So we've just stopped at our first stop. This is my baby. Hopping on, hopping off. I was on a mission. The weather totally showed off today. And it got me visiting places I probably would have just driven straight past or never even knew existed. Oh, and it was ridiculously satisfying to fill up my passport with a heritage site stamp at the old gardener's cottage. But the reason I knew I was really into it, because I completely lost track of time. Just realised, what time is the bus pickup? I need to go. Massive thank you to Climate Forth and the National Lottery Heritage Fund for the adventure. Oof, I made it back. Hello! Quick, get the bike. And you know what? I think you're right. I should definitely...
Okay, sharing my screen and let Laura bring the slides back up. Yes, that was the video we did with Tinakate, and it was yeah, just absolutely fantastic. We've had so much really positive engagement for both the activities, and we've noticed the site that she went to at Valleyfield. It was one of the bike bus stops that wasn't being used very much, and ever since that video went out, it's getting used all the time. It's becoming one of our more popular ones. So it suggests that it is actually working, and that it's, using influencers and things does seem to be really, really positive. So I will get back to the slides.
I think as well, like, just when I rewatch that, it shows you how snappy and how short that is. It's literally 35 seconds, and she's managed to jam pack so much information into that tiny little reel. So yeah, it just shows you what you can do, like, for Instagram as well. That just struck me as we were watching that again, Mirran.
Yeah, absolutely. And Laura is always reminding us that we need lots of really good, short, snappy videos for our socials. And yeah, it proves that it works. And, I think it's just so much easier to watch something like that and actually see how you do an activity versus, someone typing out a bunch of text and having to read through it. And in fact, Laura and I did a little video as well, doing one of the brass rubbings, which I haven't got to now, but that should be on our socials and our YouTube as well. But yeah, it's really helpful, I think, for people to see how you actually do an activity and see it in practice, and it looks fun, and it's and Tinakate's fantastic because she's just full of energy and sells it really nicely. So I think doing the videos definitely been positive. Otherwise, in terms of what's been working well for Passport, it's been a really successful activity, to be honest. Overall, we have had a lot of challenges with it, and I will come on to those, but it's been so popular and so well received. We've had about 1,000 physical booklets given to people who've gone off to hopefully use them. We've had hundreds of downloads of our kind of digital booklet as well online, and we've had to pause printing for a little bit with a few delays, which again I'll come on to in a sec. But even with that, even the fact that we're kind of limited in how many booklets we've got, it's been just so much demand and lots of people requesting them. So definitely been well received, but not necessarily the easiest project to deliver. I think one of the things that worked for us was that we launched it at the beginning of June, so it was right before the school holidays. So in terms of engaging with like young people and families, that was really, really promising because everyone's on holiday looking for things to do, whether you're local or whether you're visiting the area. I think that's been really good. We were maybe a little bit lucky. The project was delayed, and we were previously hoping to launch it for the Easter holidays, but it actually worked out quite well, having it ready for the summer. We also sent not so much for the visitors, I suppose, but we also were able to send out booklets to local schools and things as well, so for kind of a wider engagement. I think the activity has been popular because it's something a bit different. Like, these passport activities are starting to pop up in places, but there's not really anything like it here. So I think it's something new for people to do. There's a really clear ask where you're going out, you're visiting sites, and there's a stamp to get, and I think that always adds, having a bit of a challenge of go and collect all the stamps. Always just makes it a little bit more fun. It makes it a bit of a game for people. I've talked about families and how it kind of appeals to kids, but I think it actually appeals to everyone. I know lots of people my age and older who love these kind of challenges, and because you're getting to go out and explore heritage as well, I think there's quite a broad appeal for it, and we've had loads of different people using it and kind of giving us feedback, which is really nice. It's also, as you've seen, it ties in really nicely with the bike bus. So it's actually been really helpful being able to kind of co-promote with other activities. The bike bus obviously is also really helpful because it's a free transport service that goes close to some of the passport sites. So it gives people a free and more sustainable way to actually travel and go and visit the passport sites, which is really nice. And yeah, as you can see, we do videos like that. There's lots of kind of opportunities to promote things together, which I think always is beneficial. So lots of positives for this one, but it was difficult to set up. I think one of the first issues we found was trying to get permissions from local heritage sites to run this activity, for a couple of reasons. I think part of it is having the physical brass rubbing panels having to be installed at sites. It's tough because a lot of heritage sites already have quite a lot of interpretation, so fair enough, a lot of places don't want to kind of be adding to that and making things feel cluttered. So I think that was difficult, but also how we install them was a bit of a challenge, because in order to try and make sure that the panels are secure, we wanted to attach them onto existing buildings or structures or walls as much as possible, rather than putting them on a post in the ground where they're a little bit more vulnerable. But as you can imagine, with sort of protected heritage sites, it's really difficult to do that. You know, you often can't actually fix things directly onto buildings and such. So that did make it a little bit challenging. And we did have a bit of trouble trying to find sites. We were really fortunate in the end. We've managed to find 9 really fantastic sites that worked really well. But yeah, it definitely something to factor in. We have also had some issues with vandalism, which I think is always going to happen with these kind of projects. It's tough, you know, you want to try and find sites where you're not going to get those kind of issues, but you also want to be promoting some of those quieter, lesser known sites, which may be in some cases more likely to vandalism. We did have 10 sites originally, and we ended up removing one because we put the panel in and it was gone within hours, and we kind of discussed it with the site and agreed, I think we can't do it, because we knew it was just going to keep getting taken. So that, again, it does there are limitations there. Otherwise, vandalism, we've not had too many issues. We did last month have our panel at Keneal Estate was stolen, which was a bit of a shame, and that was staked into the ground. So we have now replaced it. We've managed to attach it to an existing sign this time, so it should be a little bit more secure. And that really reinforces the fact of try and attach it to something else if you can. The only issues we've had are with ones that have been posted into the ground as a standalone item. So definitely something to kind of learn from that. And the one at Keneal, it's been replaced now, but that's kind of caused us quite a lot of delays in the middle of summer, which was a bit of a shame. So we've had to move it, which means, you know, we've had to get a new panel and install that. We've had to make changes to our booklet because it's now in a new location. We're now at a point where everything's all in and the new booklets are coming in the next couple of weeks, which is really good. But yeah, it means we've had to put quite a big pause kind of in the busy season, which was a bit of a shame. But now it's hopefully going to be up and running again very shortly. Yeah, I think, looking at my notes, I think those were the main things. I think the only other thing I would just mention is time, which with any project like this, there's never enough time. And, you know, just everything does tend to take longer than you think it might. So if you're ever doing a project like this, just allow for as much time as possible. So I think in the end, it took me sort of about 10 months start to finish, sort of beginning of planning to launching this, to get it out there. But as I've mentioned, like the permissions, it takes a long time to kind of find the right sites, get all the permissions agreed, you know, work out how our installations are going to be managed and maintained as well with each of the individual sites. It took time to design the booklet, and that went through quite a few versions as well with the graphic designer to kind of get that right. Time to work out how we were going to promote it as well, and lots of different things. We had our car-free adventures as well. Fortunately, we had Mike Dennison again, who was able to help us with those, and he's got so much fantastic local knowledge that I don't think it was too challenging of a job for him to come up with some fantastic itineraries. But again, having a bit of time to go out and do more testing of those and things like that would have been nice to do. So yeah, time is always a challenging one on these projects, but overall, I think, yeah, a really positive activity that's been really well received. So the third and kind of final section that I'm going to talk about today is our visitor events and competitions. So we've run various different events, they're all free, to try and help people learn a little bit more about local heritage, encourage people to volunteer a little bit of their time to give back to some of the heritage sites that they might be visiting, and to kind of explore the area in a more sustainable way, reducing the use of cars and things like that. So we've got 3 categories of events that we run. The first one is our heritage events. So these are designed to try and showcase the area's lesser known heritage, and this can include a wide range of things. So we've got our built heritage and natural heritage, of course, but we've also got kind of our local heritage crafts and history and things like that as well that we've kind of tried to include. So the 6 events have included a children's storytelling event. We had an event promoting kind of local volunteering opportunities. We did a cyanotype workshop, a guided cycle ride, including some very nice local foodie stops, and a heritage painting workshop. And then finally, we did a craft taster day. So we had a selection of local crafters come along and kind of teach people some of their skills. So the next category of events is the visiteering. So this is very much trying to encourage visitors to come along to like a volunteer session at a local heritage site, and kind of give back to some of the places that they're exploring. So we've done 4 different events here. So we did a tree planting day at Rannoch Park. We did a litter pick at Linlithgow Peel, a beach clean at Blackness Bay, and a heritage monitoring project at the Antonine Wall at Rough Castle, which is a historic environment Scotland project. Basically, they're doing some long-term research on heritage sites to try and find out sort of how climate change is impacting them over time. So they want lots of people sending in photos of the sites, so they've got a bit of a record of how the sites are changing. So we were, for our visiteering, we were trying to encourage people to go along and send in some photos, particularly of areas that are kind of subject to flooding. So those are our visiteering. We did, for 2 of the activities, we did try and kind of bribe people in a bit with a free entry to some attractions. So we, at our Blackness Bay beach clean, everyone got free entry to the castle afterwards, and at Linlithgow Peel as well, after the litter pick, people had free entry to the palace. And then our last kind of category is competitions. So we have run 2 photography competitions. They both had a kind of local heritage theme, and we've had prizes from local businesses for everyone who's entered. So this year we focused the theme a little bit more on hidden gems. The first year that we ran this, we did get a lot of kind of the kelpies and the bridges, so we tried to focus a little bit more on hidden gems and get a little bit more variety this year, which worked really well. We will be in a few weeks hosting, well, a couple of weeks now, a outdoor exhibition to showcase the top 15 photographs from this year, which will be going up in Bowness, and there'll be a little bit more coming out on our socials about that in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be a really nice way to kind of showcase the lesser known heritage in those photographs as well. And I should say, you can see on the pictures here our winners from year 1 and year 2. So in terms of the lessons learned, there's quite a lot in this section. So I would say the heritage events and the photo competitions were really popular. They did really well. We had 151 attendees across the 6 heritage events, and we had 91 entries across the 2 photo competitions, which was really good. Feedback from these has all been really, really positive as well, and people have really enjoyed it. I think for the heritage events, I think partly they've been popular because a lot of them are learning a new skill or something like that, or it's kind of an activity that might otherwise be paid for that's on offer for free. People can come along, learn about local heritage, and have a really nice time. And they've all been slightly different. Like we've had quite a range of events. I think it's been really nice that we've been able to appeal to different people who might have different interests, and kind of widen our engagement with that. For the photography competition, I think the prizes were definitely a good incentive for people coming along. So for this year, the winner got a £150 voucher for Wex to get some new photography gear. And then we also had prizes from a couple of our local businesses. So Nooch Bar and Kitchen, which is a plant-based restaurant in Stirling, and Black Squirrel Clothing, which is a local clothing online shop based in Blackness, who are really kind of focused on ethical and kind of green clothes. They both gave us prizes for the competition. They're both businesses as well that do a lot with us as a project and have been promoting us and supporting us as well. So it's been really nice to kind of work with them on that. I think the big issue, I kind of touched on it already, the big issue we had with the photography competition in the first year was that we asked people to send us photos of heritage, and we got so many kelpies, so many bridges, so many of the kind of same really popular spots. And really with this competition, we want to be highlighting some of our hidden gems and things like that. So we kind of changed the theme to hidden gems, and we said we weren't accepting photos of any of the really popular spots. And we just wanted to push people a little bit to go and explore a little bit further and find some really cool hidden gems. And it worked. We've had some really fantastic photos and quite a few places that I didn't know about and had never heard of. So that's always a good sign that they're good hidden gems. And as I say, we're going to try and encourage people who come along to our exhibition in September to go and explore some of those sites as well. The visiteering was, I would say, less popular out of the activities. We had 28 attendees in total across our 4 events. I think it's always going to be harder to try and get people along to like a volunteer session versus a sort of a free activity or something that has prizes. And yeah, I think one of the challenges we found with this, and actually to an extent across all of the activities I talked about, but particularly the visiteering, we really struggled to get tourists and visitors. So we were really promoting these events to tourists. We were promoting them through some of the bigger organisations. So we had support from like Visit Scotland and Visit Falkirk and Welcome to Fife and all of those places that are kind of getting that reach. And we found it really difficult. We had a lot of local people coming along and enjoying the sessions, which is fantastic. That's great as well. But it wasn't quite the audience that we were aiming for. And I think it's hard to know exactly why we weren't getting visitors along. I think one reason, I think one reason is probably the timing of the event. So the kind of design of these activities was to run them in the off season to try and create more tourist opportunities year round, so that we're not just getting everybody coming in at once. We can kind of spread that tourism out across the year. It's much more sustainable, much more manageable. And provides that kind of economic benefit throughout the year as well. So we ran most of these in the off season, and I think inevitably it's going to be less tourists about. And I think the challenge we really had was that although we were trying to encourage more people to come to visit, I think there's a limit as to how much we can do that as a 3-year project to kind of promote tourism year round. I think it's going to need so much more kind of cross collaboration with a lot of the big tourism organisations as well as local businesses and communities to make sure that there is a really solid tourist offering year round. And I think with time and with lots and lots of collaboration, that there's a lot of potential for that, and I think that would be really positive. And I think we're just limited in how much one project can really do that. So I suspect that might be partly why we weren't getting loads of people. And yeah, but I think there's definitely a lot of potential there. I think the visiteering as well. I think I really like the idea of people coming on holiday, going and visiting a local heritage site, and then doing like a volunteer session to give back. But I think people on holiday might be a little bit time limited. So that also could be an issue that they might want to donate or they might want to do something to kind of give back, but it might not be their time that they want to give back maybe for shorter sessions, but potentially that could be an issue as well. We did, as I say, we did try and kind of offer a bit of an incentive. So for Black Nest, for example, come along, help us do a bit of a beach clean for an hour and then get free entry to the castle. And the hope was that might kind of tackle that a little bit. It didn't quite get visitors along, but it did get a lot of locals along who wanted to go and explore the castle. So definitely still some wins there. But yeah, definitely some challenges as well. So I'm aware we're getting a little short on time, but we're nearly at the end of this. So I've just put up a few quotes here from some of our feedback from participants for the events. I think it's always nice to kind of see some of the nice responses that we've had, and people have really enjoyed some of the activities. So I'll just leave that up there for a moment. I was going to briefly mention the bike bus. I kind of have already. As I say, we can share a link to the Ask Me Anything session that was specifically about the bike bus. I kind of want to mention it briefly because it is such a big part of our sustainable tourism offering, because it is a free transport service. You can take a bike on it, you can hop on and off, go around the inner forth, go visit local heritage attractions. It links up to public transport hubs as well. And I think it's a really positive thing for tourists, and it is one that we have had tourists using. Again, it's very popular with locals and it does get a lot of local use, but it is one that I know we have had visitors using as well. And this year we added tour guides to it as a new feature, to try and kind of make it more accessible for tourists so that they can come, there's someone on board who can talk to them about the area, give them tips on where to go, and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see at the end of this summer, when the season ends, kind of how many more tourists we've had using it. So that's, yeah, I think that's definitely a nice one just to kind of mention a little bit, because I think that's been a really positive activity as well. So we've come to the end of the session. I have jotted down a couple of wee questions I can go through, but I'll maybe just check in the Q&A first if there's anything in here, but I don't think there is. If you do have any questions, do just pop them in. You can put them in either the chat function or the Q&A one. I'm going through, but I don't think I've missed any. So for now, I'll just go through the questions that I've got here, if it goes through. Sorry, the slides have been a little bit slow today, but hopefully that should help.
He's maybe typing. I'm not sure if it's a question, but yeah, maybe it is a question, or maybe it isn't. Yeah, Brooks, I think has.
Sorry, can I just? It's just easier to ask. I guess I'm just curious about the emphasis, and it might have to do with funding, but the emphasis on, in a place like Scotland that obviously has lots of tourism and lots of sites, and people have lots of ideas about what they want to see. Yeah, how do you decide, kind of more I'm assuming international tourists versus the local families and people that are visiting the sites locally, which would seem to have more sustainability in terms of repeats and kind of culture change and things like that.
Yeah, so I should say we do want to appeal to local people as well. So it's not just tourists. The kind of activities I've talked about today are ones that we have really been trying to get tourists along to. But as a project, there is a lot with other people. And it isn't just international tourists we want, it's also Scottish tourists. So and maybe visitors is a better word to use, because we want people who are coming to the area. So it could also be people coming through for a day trip from, Glasgow or Edinburgh or something like that. Trying to get more people coming and exploring the area. And I think the benefit of having people coming in and exploring the area, especially in a more sustainable way, is the benefits for the local economy. Obviously, local businesses are going to be getting a lot more people coming in and spending money. And even, some of our kind of smaller, lesser known heritage sites, if there's more people coming and visiting them, then there may be more opportunities for investment in them as well, and conserving them and making sure that they're doing okay. Did that help? I'm not sure if that answered, but hopefully it did.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
Angela?
Hi, sorry. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It's such an exciting program, and as someone who deals with responsible tourism daily on a daily basis for work, I think this is so inspiring. And on a personal level, I used the bike bus on a couple of occasions and managed to cycle along the inner forth route and discovered some of the heritage attractions that you highlight in the passport. And I think it's, I truly enjoyed it. I meant to do a post on LinkedIn. I didn't get around to do that yet, but yeah, I will definitely do this soon. My question is about, because it's inspiring, and I think as I work for Historic Environment Scotland, and I think we are planning to kind of promote responsible tourism across our operations, and maybe promote destinations, our heritage sites, and create destinations, highlight them at a destination level. And so this is still in the making, but I don't know if you went on our new website. We are promoting some of, cycling and walking routes around our site. I was wondering, in terms of dealing with the local authorities, did you have any challenges or did you collaborate with them, and did you have any challenges or find out any opportunities?
Yeah, so we did work with local councils on quite a few projects. So the 4 local council areas are also partners on the project. So we were working with them for a few of the things. So some of the passport sites, for example, are with local council areas and things like that. And generally, I think they are very enthusiastic about trying to create more sustainable tourism and trying encouraging people to explore in a more kind of responsible way. So I'd say there's definitely opportunities there. Yeah, so that's quite a short answer, but yes, there's my overall. There's definitely, I mean, there's always going to be challenges, but I definitely think there is an appetite for doing more of this. And I know, I think it's Stirling, Falkirk, and Clacks councils, if I've got that right, are setting up something at the moment to promote more sustainable tourism in the area. The name of it's gone out of my head, but I know that's in the works. So there's hopefully some opportunities that are going to come out of that as well.
Brilliant, thank you.
Shan?
Hi, thanks. That was really insightful. It's not a question necessarily, but I've got a couple of things that I'd like to hear a little bit more about, please. I'll go back and have a listen to the bike bus because I think that's absolutely genius. And although we're in quite a tourism heavy area here in sort of North Wales, the public transport infrastructure just doesn't support it, sort of thing. So that could be a real kind of game changer for us. And the competition side, again, I think that's a really brilliant way to sort of galvanise people, showcase spotlights on specific areas, species, whatever may be. How easy was it to bring the competition to this initiative? How complicated was it to set up?
So the competitions were probably the easiest activity to set up from my end. I wasn't involved with the first one, but certainly doing the second one worked out. I think having decent prizes really helps. So I think that really did reach lots of people. We did lots of promotion, and Laura, jump in if I'm missing things, but we did lots of promotion through the university as well, at Stirling as well. So a lot of students took part who were taking photography courses and things like that. And there are a few, some fantastic photographers in the area. So it was quite straightforward, really. I mean, we really just had to set up the prizes. We did quite a lot of promotion, and then we just asked people to send us in photos. Honestly, the trickiest bit was probably the kind of mechanism for sending us photos, because we ended up doing it through Microsoft Forms, but wouldn't let people attach photos and things like that. So trying to there's maybe a better way to do that. We ended up doing it through forms because then we could get a little bit of information. We wanted people to share a little bit about the heritage that they were sending us. I think the first year, all the entries were just kind of emailed in, but people then weren't giving sort of very much information alongside the photos. So I think forms did work to get that information, but then people sending in the photos separately. So maybe there's a slightly smoother way to do that. But yeah, it just kind of took off, and people were really interested in it. And I mean, Laura, jump in if I'm missing anything else.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And I think, obviously we were talking about the photo competition. So I guess it just depends on what kind of competition that you're wanting to run. But I think what worked for us on that, we jumped in on local groups who would have an interest in that anyway. So camera clubs, photography clubs, the local students at the uni and the colleges who were doing photography and filmmaking. So we kind of thought, right, who's going to be interested in this? We reached out to them. We did some social media advertising as well, and sort of chose a specific audience through audience interests. So kind of targeted our social media ads towards people who were interested in photography and heritage. So I think it's just about trying to think about who your audience is and starting quite small, and then just kind of thinking, oh, who else might be interested in taking part in this, and I will say, just again, just in general, listen to Mirran today. the key to so much of it is collaboration. Like she has collaborated so much, like in all of her activities, she has collaborated and collaborated and collaborated, and she's done a brilliant job of it. But I think, you can't really do any of this just yourself. So I think it is just using your contacts and reaching out. And, mostly we have found people really receptive to what we're trying to do. So yeah, I think that would be all I would add, really.
Is there anything in terms of sort of specific rules around competitions or anything like that that you can sort of share any learning with, or is it quite sort of straightforward?
For us, it was straightforward, I think, because it's just kind of online. If you're having sort of events or anything kind of in person, it might be a little bit different. I think for us, because it was just a simple case of we were promoting it, people were sending us photos by email or however it was. That was quite straightforward. The thing that is definitely not as straightforward is doing the photo exhibition that's going to be running in September. So that's obviously, there's a lot more there with permissions because it's going to be a physical structure with the photos. So we've been working with Falkirk Council on that, and it's all going well. But there's a bit more kind of needing to work out permissions and get everything agreed. But the actual competition itself was quite straightforward.
Well, fab, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Angela?
Sorry, this might be an annoying question, but how do you track impacts of the around the fourth heritage passport? And if you do, how do you do it?
Yes, so I probably should have put this into the challenges as well. For the passport, it's really difficult to monitor it in general. We're keeping a very close eye on how many booklets are actually being distributed, and actually taken away from the venues that are distributing them. So we do have quite a good idea of numbers. In terms of who's using it and how they're using it, it's much harder. We've been really, really encouraging people to just get in touch with us. Because it's something that, you just take a booklet and you go do it. There's, it's not an event, it's not staffed, there's no kind of official feedback people have to do. So we've been asking people a lot within the booklet and kind of online and stuff as well to get in touch with us, send us photos. We've tried to make it fun, tag us in your adventures and things like that. And quite a lot of people have got in touch. We've had some fantastic pictures of people, there's one guy cycling around and planning to hit all of the stops by bike, and lots of families using it. So that has helped a little bit, but in terms of, I'll be doing the evaluation for this, the kind of longer evaluation for this soon. It is going to be challenging to say this is exactly who's using it. These are the sites that people are going to most often. That kind of information, it's really tough, I think, to try and get that, other than hoping people communicate with you.
Thank you. Yes, as we've got a similar challenge with trying to track metrics for the Take the Slow Road campaign across Scotland. But I feel like the passport, the booklets, and the online submissions of pictures can definitely help towards it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's worked well for us. No worries. Ezra?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mirran, for the presentation. I share the previous comments. It's absolutely brilliant. My question is related to economic activity, because when I was, listening to you, it's absolutely brilliant, but I feel like the design is mostly for adventurers who are not likely not to spend any money during their visits. So I was wondering your further reflections, actually, how the spendings from visitors can be more encouraged, more promoted to help businesses to benefit from their visits.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. And again, it's a difficult one to monitor. It's hard as a project, certainly for us, to monitor exactly what impact that is having on local businesses. I think one thing for us that we've really tried to do is push some of these like itineraries or adventures, as we call them, which do encompass local businesses. So I think the route cards work quite nicely because they do name local businesses. And I think potentially if we wanted to make that more accessible, we could do more sort of lower level routes, sort of easier cycle routes, and even do walking routes for people who don't have bikes, who are just here on holiday. And yeah, so you can have little route cards for sort of little short walks where you can go and visit local heritage, and here's some of the businesses that you have to go check out that are really nice. And so I think that's nice. I think generally having some kind of itinerary really helps people. We found that with the bike bus as well. If we give people, you know, not just here's a bike bus, go and do something, but here's a bike bus and here's a journey you can do, here's how you can use it to get from point A to point B, and this is what you can visit along the way, people are more likely to do it, especially if they don't know the area, and you know, they might have issues trying to come up with a plan or figure out what's around. So definitely I think, yeah, offering those kind of little day trip things are good as well. And maybe even thinking about what you're promoting, you know, trying to, oh, the Rosebrook, thanks very much. You know, I think if you're really, if your focus is really about local businesses, trying to promote heritage that's actually close to some of those local businesses as well, where things can connect up. Yeah, I think that helps.
Yeah, definitely helps. But I was also thinking if there will be any other option related to accommodations, because you know, this is very much physical, based on physical activity, and people are likely not to eat too much, not to you know, buy things because they can't carry. They will be cycling. So my point was, could it be an option to push them for staying over, for example, during their routes? Or is there any infrastructure? Is it enough accommodation around this route?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say there isn't enough accommodation. I mean, so in Stirling, I know we've talked about like in Stirling, and there's places where there's lots of accommodation options. Certainly some of the quieter spots is not as much. So that could be something, is having more accommodation and options for people in the area. And you could even do, you know, guided, I know there's tour trips, but you could have like a, you know, responsible tourism groups which go out in a little electric minivan and they go together, and maybe it's a couple of days, and the leaders can sort of organize accommodation, and then they can take them to local businesses, they can take them to distillery tours or local cafes and things like that. So maybe a more structured option for tourists that can come, and it can be a few days, it can be whatever people are looking for, might be really beneficial. Laura, did you have something else to jump in?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and we have had some businesses, like Mirran's worked with some B&B businesses, some glamping businesses who are promoting a lot of our day trip route cards. I think the thing about the route we're trying to promote as well, you know, like for instance, I live close to the West Highland Way, and there's you know, that has existed for such a long time. So there's this massive awareness of what the West Highland Way is. Whereas I think when you're dealing with something that's quite a new brand, as in the Round the Inner Forth route, you're kind of building it up from scratch. So I think these things take time. But I think that there are so many more layers of stuff that could be done. Wouldn't you agree, Mirran? Like to kind of like to network it a little bit better. So there's definitely scope for that in future projects or with future partnerships or with you know, with people others in the area who are keen to kind of keep it going. I think we're basically at a kind of starting point really, and of doing what we can within the realm of Climate Forth. But yeah, there's loads of inspiration.
Yeah, and you have done a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Mirran has.
Well, team effort. Are there any other questions? And if not, we'll maybe wrap up there, because I'm conscious we are slightly over time. So I'll just quickly flag. These are the next couple of Ask Me Anything sessions that are coming up. So if you are interested in attending either of these, just let myself or Laura know, or you can email in the Forth inbox, which I think is probably how you all signed up to this one. But yes, you'd be very, very welcome to come along to either of these as well. And that brings us to our close. So just a final thanks to our funders. So we are funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund, thanks to National Lottery players, as well as a range of co-funders that are on here as well. And just to say thank you all for coming along today. I really hope that was helpful. And if anyone does have any other follow-up questions or anything else that you'd like to chat about, do feel free to get in touch with us and be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mirran. Thank you, Laura. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.